Good morning, Giants. Welcome to Wake Up with Giants TV. Have you ever wondered why you can't remember the future? I just remembered something. You're going to stick around for this.
Oh, there you are. You were right.
Well, here.
Do you wonder where you are? Well, here you are. I think we know people that talk like that.
We do.
Yeah. What are you going to remember in the future? Whatever you remember.
Good morning.
Good morning. So, yeah, can you have a memory of a future event? Or how do you remember? I don't even remember the topic. How am I going to remember the future?
How do you remember this topic?
How do you remember the future? Is that even a possibility? Yeah. This may be a philosophical, I'm here, Hugh, I'm here. Oh, there he is. There's our guy.
Yeah.
Good morning, Hugh.
I saw that he was going to be here. I remembered.
Yeah, I knew he was going to do that. I had no clue you were going to do that, or what I was going to say.
I thought that you would.
Yeah. Well, just as a dogmatic conversation, can you remember the future? I think we first have to understand what memory is. It's the attachment of an event into our brain that we can later recall. And so it has to be something that's accessible. And so a future event, man, how would you ever make sense of that? Because it would be happening in an environment that you wouldn't have any experience of. So how would you anchor it in?
That's a good question. I thought about thinking about it so clearly and vividly of painting that picture so clearly of what you wanted in the future, that when it came,
yeah,
you already knew it, or you already felt it, almost like a deja vu of sorts.
Yeah.
And you're almost not surprised. You're just like,
yeah. I think I've had some moments like that where I've thought of something so clearly that it came about. I'm like, oh yeah, it's exactly what I imagined. But maybe one time in my life, right? But that perspective memory, right? You're projecting out into the future of something that you're going to create, and you see it so vividly in your mind that when it does come about, that's exactly what I imagined. The book would be an example of that. I had an imagery of the world, right, before it was ever created. But it took my artist to get it just right. And I could easily say, that's exactly what I had in mind, because 2020, hindsight is 2020, right?
mm-hmm.
Like, I would look at it and then fill in the pieces and say, oh yeah, it's exactly as I imagined.
Well, I remember from there's pictures on the website. So if you go to the giantsandthesmalls.com, you can see, or even on the Kickstarter, I think that you can see versions that like it was like the first creation of Remy and Rit and the characters and stuff like that. And you were like, no.
Yeah, it's aligning, right? The vision that you have inside with what comes into the real world. And so in a way, it would be a memory because you've projected that so far out. You know what it looks like on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes into your space, you're really just aligning with that. And then once it's there, then you have a memory of it, right?
Yes.
I took out chicken this morning because
that was a great future event. That sounds delicious. Later.
Oh, that was fantastic dinner.
Yeah.
I remember it.
At Hughes.
Yeah. So as a possibility, if we were to talk about this in a possibility, looking at physics, physics says that a photon and an atom, now they've proven that atoms can superposition. They can exist in two places simultaneously at once. And Einstein continued to say that time is relative, that we measure rotations in linear movement, which we call time.
Mm-hmm.
But in the universe, there isn't time. All things are present. And so, as a possibility, our life as it exists in the future already exists. We just don't have experience of it in this current reality. And so we could potentially draw from that. But if all of our lives live in all possibilities and potentials, then which one are we accessing? Which future memory are we accessing? One of many possibilities,
The best one.
right? And are we really accessing the memory of the future, or is it the now? Is it always the now? And how deep do we want to go down this rabbit hole? And if we've lost you, that was our show for the day. But yeah. So, when you go dogmatic, the challenge is the research to support it. And maybe there's not always a measurement for things like this, because science, what it tends to do is want to put a measurement on things and document it and say, statistically, yeah, there's a high probability of this occurring.
Mm-hmm.
It's significantly higher than what would be normal. So, yeah, we can count on it. But even within that, I mean, you look a few years back, there was that issue with the research where 50% of the research articles couldn't be duplicated. They went back through and tested them. They're like, most of these are bunk.
Whoa.
And so even looking at science and research, there's a point where it becomes philosophical, spiritual, dogmatic, which is kind of fun. You can explore it, play with it, live into it. So, yeah, so like this, okay. Yeah, we have a hope for the future, like a memory of on the other side of this, that we come out of that Kickstarter as an example, and it's fully funded. As a possibility, it might also not be fully funded. It's like Schrodinger's cat. It's like we have this observation. And just to give you a sense of what Schrodinger's cat is that it's this.
Some people at home are like, "Whose cat?
Who's Schrodinger? I like cats."
Name's your kid Schrodinger.
You had me at cat. So Schrodinger's thought experiment is the idea that if you were to put a cat in a box as a hypothetical, it exists both alive and dead.
Boxes.
And so, yeah, there's this experiment that your thought influences the radioactivity in the box. It releases a vial that either kills or doesn't kill the cat, but it's your observation that makes the determination. So when you open the box, it's either immediately dead or alive in the box based on your observation, which goes into physics. And so your world, don't put the cat in the box. Yeah, we are not advocating putting cats in boxes here or killing cats, not in any way.
Definitely no.
But the thought experiment is that it exists in both realities simultaneously, and physics is showing that's true. There's matter and there's antimatter. There's positivity and there's negativity. There's always an anti-something. Mm-hmm. So your world can exist both in the positive and in the negative simultaneously, and what brings it into reality is your observation of it, according to physics. Now, if your future already exists, then it's because of your observation of that future, and you could potentially lock in some future event by your behaviors. Mm-hmm. And so as a possibility, and pure possibility, is you could project your future. You could observe it how you want to observe it and have a memory of that that's so clear, which means that you have access to it and you're able to recall it and store it, which would be a memory. That's the definition of it, which you've created it so vividly in your mind that you've locked it in to where it's storable. And you're able to recall that memory and move toward it to where it becomes a reality in your environment. So try to keep the cat. Yeah. Wow.
You know what's interesting about that?
Hugh, I dare you.
I was thinking about Catherine Lee and her interview and her talking about being on Oprah.
Yep.
The possibility was there to be on Oprah, who always existed, but she envisioned it so clearly, even down to what she was wearing. Was it the blue shirt? And Oprah didn't ever wear blue. Is that what I'm remembering?
Something about the blue. Yeah, Oprah was wearing blue, and she never wore blue on TV because it was a bad color for TV. But in this interview, she envisioned her wearing blue, and in the actual interview, she was wearing blue. And so her memory was so vivid. I'm wondering, did that have influence over the whole experience? Or was she remembering an event that had already occurred and was able to draw from it? The deja vu thing, right? Are you having a remembering of something that has already occurred as a possibility? Yes, it's only always occurring. Like your reality, future, past, present, is always present.
Put that one on, Giants.
Yeah. Now go smoke your weed and this will all make sense. Yeah.
Don't smoke weed.
Yeah, well,
or do. Either one.
Your choice, your decision. Yeah, I think
it might make our show more interesting.
It might. Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, we're going to go another level here. You want to get dogmatic. Yeah. So I would wonder, there's no way to scientifically measure a future memory, because the definition of it, if we were to anchor it in and lock it into a definition, a box of this is a memory. A memory is something that you can have it, make sense of, store, and retrieve. And a future memory would be challenging to measure.
It is too early.
It is too early. Yeah, don't start your day that way, because I can promise it's not going to go very, very effectively. You might just want to lay in bed and eat cookies.
Yeah, Cheetos.
But you could have a memory of that.
You're welcome, Frito-Lay.
Man, we went 11 minutes on this topic, and I'm curious. What do you guys think? In the comments, post what your thoughts are. Can you have a future memory? Can you remember something from the future? And share what you think.
Amazing.
I'd love to have fun with this one.
See you putting comments in. Lots of them.
So as a final thought here, if you're going to visualize your future, you do want to create it so clearly that you can see it. And so you want to project and prospect, have a perspective memory that puts it out there, that you pursue it because you imagine it so clearly and you're so inspired by it that you pursue it and it actually becomes a reality. And in that case, I would say, yes, you can have a memory of the future because you created it. And you saw it so vividly today that it became a reality at some future point. So that's my thought.
You have a great thought.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
Just one. You have just one great thought today.
That's all I have is one. Well, guys, that was my great thought. I'm going to go retire, and that's life. Let's call it a game.
Well,
wrap it up.
We did it. 13 minutes now.
Yeah.
On a subject we weren't too sure about. But here we are.
Sure.
Just go show up today, Giants. Make it a giant day.
Yeah, we were teaching. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Thank you.
Love you too.